الآن يمكنكم المشاركة في مبادرة الأيام الرقمية تحت شعار انطلق بقوة مع جوجل، والتي يتناول فيها خبراء جوجل عناوين جديدة أسبوعيا مثل السحابيات، مهارات من جوجل، أندرويد، فلتر، ذكاء الآلة، فايربيس، ديزاين ثينكينج، مقسمة إلى دورات وورشات عمل يومية بالإضافة إلى مسابقات أسبوعية. شاهد الأيام الرقمية مباشرة على اليوتيوب وشارك رأيك وأسئلتك مع خبراء جوجل، واحصل على شهادة حضور في كل محاضرة تشترك فيها. هذا وأكثر من الأحد إلى الخميس ابتداء من الساعة 9 بتوقيت دبي عبر الرابط المبين youtube.com/gdgmena.
Hello everyone, hope you're doing well, and welcome to the part 2 of RxJS for beginners. And today we will learn more about RxJS operators. So before we start, a little bit about myself. My name is Lamis. I'm GDE for Angular, and I've been into Angular for the past few years. I'm also a senior software engineer in Tunisia, and the founder of Angular Tunisia. And as well, I'm doing some mentorship and training sessions, and I speak in many events. And today we will focus on RxJS operators. And in the last session, we saw the basics, let's say, or fundamentals of RxJS and reactive programming. So this is the part 2 of this session, and still for beginners. And in the previous session, we saw the reactive programming as a paradigm, the design pattern observer, which is the most used in the reactive programming. We saw also the implementation of the reactive programming in JavaScript, which is RxJS, and the observable, which are the spine of the reactive programming, the difference between the cold and the hot observables, and the building blocks of RxJS, which are observables, subjects, operators, satellites. And today we'll focus on the operators. And if you missed the previous session, you can go on YouTube and you can find the link. I will share with you the link later, or you can find it in my last tweet. And today the focus will be on the operators, which are the power of RxJS. So what are those operators? Operators are pure functions, okay? As simple as that. They are simple JavaScript functions that makes you able to manipulate observables, okay? And as we saw last time, observables are your data streams, or the representation of your data streams, or the representation of your future values. All those definitions goes well with the observable concept. So you will need, okay, when you retrieve the data, you will need for sure to manipulate the data, to do things with the data. And the operators will help you in achieving this. And there are two kinds of operators: creation operators and pipeable operators. And I will break it down right now. So the first type, which is the creation operators. Creation operators are operators for creation observables. Okay, so you can use them in order to create an observable from scratch. And we will see some example later on Stackleets and code with it, okay, in order to understand more and deeply the concept. So just for now, keep in mind that the first type is creation operators, which will help you create the observable. The second type is pipeable operators, okay? It's all the operators that you can use in order to manipulate the observable, and we call them Pipeable Operator because they are an argument to the pipe method. And this method was introduced in RxJS 5.5, and now the common used version is the version 6 of RxJS, and the version 7 is around the corner. So it's been there for a while, and it helps you chain the operators. Okay, so you can just use this operator in order to do some manipulation, and you can chain many manipulations in it. And the operator will, the input of an operator is an observable, and the output is another observable. Okay, the manipulated observable as output. But the subscription still refers, if you, for example, subscribe on the output observable, then it will always point out the inner subscription. So it will transform. So you have, you have a new observable as output. Okay, it's not the same observable as input. And you can consider it as an assembly line. Okay, so maybe it's an assembly line. You have an object in input, you will get another object in output. It's the same object, but with some difference. But again, it's not the same observable as object. Okay, it's another observable completely. And when I say manipulation, I repeated this anytime. How can I manipulate it? It's whether if you want to transform your observable or do a conditional operation on it, handle errors, filter it, combine it with other streams. Okay, so all this blue here picture is the examples of the use cases or manipulations that we can do on the observables. And there are a lot more. Okay, there are many operators in the RxJS library, and I will give you later on again the resources in order to see the exhaustive list and complete list of those operators. And you have also here the creation operator. So here is the creation use case, and in the right you have the manipulation use case. And in order, you will find when you will start learning RxJS and all the operators, etc., I highly recommend the marble diagrams. It's the visual representation of the execution of the operator on this observable. Okay, and it's very useful and easy to understand. And this is how it looks. What it looks like. You can find here the time arrow. Okay, so it's the time flowing from left to right. Here you can find a vertical line which point out the completion of the observable, and here is the operator. Here is the observable as input. Those are the values emitted by this observable, and this is the observable after the execution of the operator, which is the output of the operator call. And here you can find the error. This is the error symbol. There's an error that occurs. And as I said, this is the operator. So those are the symbols in a generic way, but you will find a marble diagram for each operator in RxJS. Okay, so let's see some code now. I know it's not really very clear for all of you. Don't worry, you will understand now when you see, the code and the exercises. There are simple examples, not really an exercise. So yeah, so here I will share. Let's do this. Yeah. So hope you are seeing here my screen. Well, so this is TechBlitz, is an editor platform coding for live coding, etc. A code editor online, and you can here find the languages that you that they support, and you pick the language you're interested in. Here I'm going to pick RxJS. I will start things from scratch. For sure, I think I need to zoom in, but if you don't see, don't hesitate to just tell the organizers and they will pay me. Well, so I hope it's okay now. So here is the console, the JavaScript console, which will trace the output of the code there. And yeah, and here you can write your code and it will be compiled there. Well, so you can find here an example by default with RxJS. So I will just start. I will command this, okay? And we will start. Okay, so I'll start by the first type, which is creation operators, which help us create observables. So how can I create an observable? There is the famous operator. There are many operators. I will present to you a few ones. Let's start with of or from. So here I will start with from. And I have here, I will put, for example, 1, 2, 3. You will need for sure to import your operator from RxJS or RxJS/operators. Okay. So here I have the operator from. It will create an observable from string, from an array, from numbers, etc. So here I will just do some pipe. So let's say that we will create this observable from this array, and I will pipe this operator, and let's say not pipe at this moment, but I will subscribe to it. And for each, I mean element or value, I will just console.log the element. Okay, so here I would refresh and you can see. So what happened here? This observable from will return an observable. As you see here, this is a return, an observable of number. And here I have as input an array of numbers. So it will create an observable from this array and emit the values of the array one by one. Okay, so here I will just add some values and you can see that it's emitting the values one by one. This is the from operator. And you can do, you can put as input the strings or arrays or any objects you want to transfer to an observable. There is also the of operator in the same vein, okay? So here, as you can see I can put here a string, and again, I will subscribe to it. Remember, you should subscribe in order to get notified about the data. And I will, same thing, I will do console.log in order to log the element. And as you can see here, MENA add. Well, this is a string. I can put also numbers. We are 28. Same thing, can put a more than one number and it will emit set one by one, as you can see here. And you can also put an object. I will try to, well, we can do this anyway. Yeah, but as you can see here, the difference from operator is that it returns the whole object, the whole array. one time. If we use the from here, it will emit every time 28, 29, and 30. Okay, three emissions. But now we have only one emission, sorry, which is the object. Yeah, and so on and so forth. So you can imagine here the use cases that you can implement using those operators from and of, and we call those operators creation operators. There's another operator which is also very used. So from and of are very used. You can use them in order to transform, for example, a collection, an array, a series of number values, etc., into an observable, and just subscribe to it in order to benefit from the reactive programming paradigm. I mean, yeah, you put this as a reactive data stream and make your use case more reactive, or maybe you have a data stream which is not really. I have to zoom in, I think. Well, I think it's, I hope it's okay for you. So I said, yeah, so you can transform it in order to transform it to a reactive data stream. Yeah, so this is, those are the first two, which are the first, I mean, basics creation operators. There's another one also, which is interval. Okay, so here, just a minute. Yeah, so I will here just put the interval. And again, you need to import from the RxJS library, from the RxJS, whether the RxJS package here or RxJS/operators. And here I will say, for example, once this is 1 second, it's in milliseconds, but yeah, it's in millisecond. And here, this operator will create for you or emit a value every second. Okay, so here nothing happened because I didn't subscribe to it. But when I will subscribe, again, element, it will start emitting the values. Okay. And it will not complete because it will emit a value every 1 second. Okay. So if you want to only take some values or filter some values, here comes the Pipeable Operator. I mean, this is the first kind, which is the filter. You can do this. If you want to start Pipeable Operator, so first thing to do is calling the pipe, and then put here your operator, and here you have the output of this pipe will be the output of the pipe operator, which is the new observable. Okay, the new observable output, and here I can say take 6. Okay, take is unknown, and now it's, yeah, it's recognized. So let's see something. Up, yeah. So as you can see here, it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it stops. Okay, because I said just take the first 6 values. Okay, and here you will do this wherever you want to manipulate your stream. In this case, I want to filter the emissions. And when you say take 6, it will only take 6 values from your emissions, and it will complete. The observable will complete. And this is an important thing. Okay, you should know that the observable will complete. And how to know that your observable will complete? You can do this. Okay, so you can just, here you have, as we saw the last time, The first function is for the processing the data that the emitted data by your observable. The second function is for error handling. So here, if an error occurs, I will say console.log error. And here you will have the last one, which is for the completion. Okay, once it's completed, then I will say, okay, and I should do this. So you can see here, my observable started emitting. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and then it completed. Okay. And I registered a callback for completion. So before it completed, it will check the callback registered, the callback function, and it will execute this callback function. Same thing for errors. If an error occurs, then it will execute this callback of errors because I registered a callback. If you don't have nothing here, as we were implementing it, then you will not see for sure the callbacks because you don't have a callback. So callbacks are optional, but it makes you, but it makes you able to figure out what happened, okay, throughout the execution of your observable. Now I will keep this, and yeah, we said that from, of, and interval are the creation operators, and you can see you can. There is Ajax also, which is very used, okay? And Ajax is for calling the HTTP request, okay? So you can just call Ajax and give it an HTTP request. I don't know, I will check if I have GitHub users. I will check out later this API and I will show you. So Ajax is an operator to call the URL or to call an API by giving a URL as a parameter. So it will call this API, okay? Well, now we moved to the second type of the operators, which is the Pipeable Operator. And the first one we discovered here is take, okay, which will take or filter this number of emissions. This number is configurable and will emit for you those values, okay, the number of those values, and then it will complete. It will complete and it will no longer emit again. Yeah, so this is the take operator and it's very useful. And you can, as you can see, you can marry many operators together, put them together and just execute a treatment, okay? Now, here you can, for example, I will pass to the map operator, okay? I will just here take the first 6, and I will use the map. The map operator falls under the category of transformation. Okay, if you want to transform the values of your observable, then you can use one of the available transformation operators over there. And there are many types, okay? I will start by giving you the most basic operators, and then we'll go to things more complex. Yeah, so the map operator will transform for you the values of your observable, and it behaves the same way as the map function in the JavaScript array. Okay, so here, let's say that for every value will just do a multiplication. Yeah, by 2, for example. Okay, so here, sorry, multiply. Yeah, so we'll multiply by 2. And yeah, so for every value here, okay, rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's multiplied by 2, and you have 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Okay, so here what happened? I transformed. It's a transformation operation. It transforms the coming observable and the values from the coming observable to a new set of values. Okay. I can also, for transformation, you can find map, you can find merge map. Sorry, for transformation, you can find the map operator, and for the filter ones, you can also find take, first, last. There are many operators available over there, and I will show you the list. But just to start playing around it, we should get familiar with the concept first and then go deeper into the details. And here you can use take 6, for example, or I can use first. Okay, so the first operator will just, yeah, it's imported from the RxJS operators, and it will just emit the first value, which is 0. You can find also last, which is the second one. And I should import, yeah. And you can find here, it will emit for you the last value. Well, now I will show you here an excellent resource in order to learn the operators, which is learnrxjs.io. Okay, so here you can find the list of operators, and I'll be sharing with you this site later on. And you can find the category or the type of manipulation. For example, combination, conditional, creation, error handling, etc. And the list of available operators. I will keep combination as the last example because it's a little bit more difficult than the regular ones. Here you have the creation. I think we went through all the, the most used one, okay, the commonly used, okay, you can find here the of, the from event also, it's very used. You can find it useful if you want to extract an observable from DOM event. And I have a project here. I will show you NG color cells. Okay, so here is a project. It's a project for my students in the university, just to, yeah, it was an exercise with RxJS. And here, as you can see, you can color the DOM squares and circles reactively, okay? And the implementation is based on, the from event operator, which will, I have registered click events here. And it will just extract as an observable the click event, and I can manipulate it as I wish, okay? And it was a simple exercise, a little bit fun for my student, and it's very good in order to understand the from event operator. So you can check this out. I will just send you this repository. Yeah. And as we saw here, sorry, it's the second one. So let's rename this in order to, so RxJS init. Well, okay. So let's come back to this one. So here you have, those are the exhaustive list of creation operators. And you can see the second one, which is handle error, catch, retry when. And for filtering, you can find filter, find, first, take, as we saw. throttle, take while, take until. And the most used ones are take last, take until, debounce time, this thing until change, this thing until key change. Okay. And yeah, so here, the point here, I mean, you can't find a course or a tutorial or whatever that explains all the available operators, okay, in 1 hour or something. But you should, I mean, understand or get the idea behind those operators, the use cases, the type of manipulation, etc. And then you will go to, I mean, the official documentation, the Learn RxJS or the RxJS official website, and you can pick the operator that you need. Okay. Now for filtering, I mean, you can find the take which will complete. We saw this, the take example, and you can also use filter, and filter is the same thing as filter in JavaScript, okay, in the array of JavaScript. And here, as you can see, I can, for example, here I will just create an observable, okay? And to create an observable, the convention is to name it at the end with the $ sign, which is the final notation. And I will say here array $. And I will just do this, okay? And I will subscribe to it later. And now I will just do the pipe thing, and I will filter the element. Here you should import it. Okay, so and every time you will need to just, I will show the element which are greater than 2, for example. Okay. Yeah, so at this moment, you won't see nothing here. So those are the execution of those instructions. I will just clear this out. And here, yeah, as you can see here, you have this array of values, and you don't see nothing for now because you did not subscribe. So you need to subscribe to it. So I will subscribe and just log the message. Well, and as you can see here, you will, it filtered for me the element according to my condition. Okay, so here is the condition. Here is the emitted value. And as you can see here, it filtered according to this condition. Only the elements greater than 2 will be emitted by this observable. And this is very useful also and commonly used. Okay, so this is the filter operator. Now let's handle some errors. And we will, as you can see here, we can just create an observable which will throw an error. Okay, and for this, we have a creation operator for errors. So I will say here error $. This is, again, it's a convention, and I will just use the throw error operator. I will say, for example, unsupported, wherever. Okay. So here I have this error, and I will just subscribe to it. And just log it. Well, and as you can see here, nothing is logged. And that's true because there is an error, so it will complete at the same time. And I will show you here how this will behave. So here will register the second callback of errors. So that log. I will just write here error for me. And this one. And we will see what happens now. So here I will just, yeah. Well, as you can see here, okay, the first callback was not executed because it's not a normal or natural emission. It's an error, okay? So it will get emitted here in the error case. And then it will complete. And you can see here, if I will register the complete callback, it will fall there. So here, console.log, completed. And you can see again, oh my God, okay. Well, so let's see what happened here. So still, you have here the error unsupported, and it failed until the error condition. Okay. Now, let's see another cool operator in order to, two cool operators, let's say. The first one is to detect when your observable completes. So to do this, you can just register a callback, as I showed you here, the completion callback, or to see, when your observable completed, or sometimes even when you're working in a JavaScript ecosystem context. You don't work only with RxJS, but for example, you are using RxJS in Angular application. For example, there are many methods to subscribe. Not only, by calling the subscribe method, but there are many other methods in order to subscribe to it. So you don't always have the ability to register this third callback, but you can pipe your operator, your observable. Here, I will pipe my observable and call the finalize operator, okay? The finalize operator will show you, so here in the finalize operator, I will just say console.log completed. And as you can see here, you can see so we have here the error. We throw the error unsupported. We are piping this observable and we are subscribing on it in this line. Okay, so this callback was called, and then with the completion of the subscription or the completion of this observable, this callback was called. Okay, it's the same thing that we can do with take, for example, with the interval segment. I can show you here. So you have here every 1 second, and I will just do a pipe and take the first, let's say, 3 values, and then finalize and say, well, take case completion. And as you can see here, I should subscribe to it. That's for sure. So I will just put this in my test dollar, and here I will do test $.subscribe. Yeah, and as you can see here, I took the 3 values and then completed a case completion. Wow. Those are, this is the finalize operator. Now I think it's a little bit messy here. So I'll try to clear unuseful. So we'll not need this. Maybe we'll not need this again. No, we will need this. We will need this. And here I will just clear this out. And I will not subscribe to the error case. Okay. So now there is another cool operator, which is the tab operator. Okay, and the tab operator is really cool when you want to debug or to know the values of the observable. So you can use this tab operator in order to debug or get the values. Okay, so here you can just I have an interval every 1 second, and I will just use tab. And for every value, and as you can see here, you can see all the elements here emitted, and I just logged it. Okay. And now it will emit every this interval will emit every 1 second. Okay. So if you have values, if you have the number of values is less than this interval, it will not show anything. Okay, so here we can just here take, for example, if you want to take. So when you say you will take 8 values, as you can see here, well, it's not emitting here. Take case completion, because it's not, I mean, let's say take 10. Again, it doesn't emit every 1 second, and now you will see. In the finalize, I will just do this. Well, now let's move to the other type of operator, which is, so we saw the creation operator, the filter operators, the tab operator, and the transformation operator, and the throw error operator, which will create for you the error, as you can see here. And you can also use catch error in order to catch the error of your observable. Okay, so for example, if we come back to the array case, well, here you can find 23, 40. Okay, so, and I will type this. Okay, and you can here just catch the errors, and do with catch error, you should return an observable of error. Okay, as you can see here. You just return the observable of error, and yeah. Okay, and you just return an observable of error in order to handle the error of your observable. So in this case, we don't have any error, but you can simulate it by, for example, doing a map operator here, and just put a condition here. For example, if X point, if the elements are less than 20, okay, so you will return the element, else you will return an error unsupported. Okay. And you can simulate this in order to X or sorry, there is a mess here. For every element, if X is less than 20, then return the element, else just return the error of unsupported. And you can catch the error here by the catch error operator and just return an observable of error. So here, this is the operator that you can use with RxJS in order to catch the error. You can also retry the operator after failing. Okay, when the observable fails or an error happens, you catch the error and you retry this observable again using retry and retry when. So check them out. You can find them here in the error. And I think I have 10 minutes left in order to continue. Well, so those are, so you can here find the retry and retry when in the error handling, okay? Another thing I want to show you is the multicasting. And when we say multicasting, it's kind of sharing the observable with many subscribers, okay? So this is the idea. And there is a very cool operator here that I recommend, which is the share replay, which will help you share your observable with many subscribers, and it comes very handy in case of caching, and if you want to cache some data even when you are calling some HTTP request and you need to cache the result, then you can use share replay in order to cache the result of this observable with the first subscriber, and then all the other subscribers will just take this take the result or the cached result of the first subscriber. And this is very cool also. Now, let's move to our presentation. Let's come back to our presentation here and see the higher order observable, okay? And the higher order observable are not, simple observable. Observable that returns numbers, strings, arrays, collections, etc., but they are observable of observables, okay? And in this case, you need for sure to combine them. For example, to combine the list of the observables, or to concat them, to just use the concat or switch all, which will subscribe, which will every time subscribe to the newest one. Okay, this is with the switch all concat all, it will concatenate with all the emitted values. So you will, if you want to do any treatment, again, based on those collection of subscribers, except those collection, of observables, of higher order observables, then you will just for sure need to check out the switch all, concat all, etc. functions. And here you can find the list of the combination here in the Learn RxJS with examples. You can use also combine latest in order to combine the results of the observables. If I have time, I can try something here very fast. So here I have, for example, the from. Okay, so let's say I have this array. Okay, that will emit every time the value of this array. And let's say again, I have another value dollar, which is of hello. Well, and I will use combine latest. And I will give the array dollar and value dollar. Okay, and then you can even put them here as separate values or just combine them inside an array and subscribe. And I will just console.log for each element. Elements. Console.log this element. Yeah, and as you can see, you have here an array of the value, last emitted value by this array, and last emitted value by this array. Do you see? So you have here 17, and you have here hello. Okay, so I will put here 60, and you can see it's the last emitted value. Okay, you can use also fork join in order to get the last emission one time. Combine latest will emit every time. I mean, every emission of those observable, it will emit, I mean, the last value. But with fork join, it will emit only one time with the last emission and then completes. Okay, and this is the difference between combine latest and fork join. But they do, I mean, literally the same thing, but the emission is not the same. Combine latest can make many emissions, but fork join just one emission, the last one, and combine latest will do every time the last emission of both observables. Well, so those are the I mean here the idea behind the combination, etc. And we will have a dedicated session for this with more on details, but just for now, as it's a beginner-friendly talk, and yeah, people start to get familiar with RxJS, etc. So we will not, I mean, put all this in one session in order to get things understood. Yeah, so it will be detailed in another session. Yeah, and for now, just start playing around those operator with an online code editor, as I showed you, or locally with your VS Code, etc. Yeah, and if you want to know which operator to use, I like this feature in the official documentation in the RxJS dev. Yeah, so here you have the operation decision tree, and you can just put your choices. I mean, you can, as you can see here, start by choosing an option from the list below. What you want to do is, do you have an existing observable, or you don't have an observable yet? So let's say I don't have an observable yet. I want to create an observable, or you want to convert a callback to an observable. So let's say I want to convert this one supporting Node.js, conventional API, etc. I start to ask you in order to get the decision, and then it will tell you what observable to use. Okay, and this is a very cool feature. Yeah, as I told you, this is the operation decision tree. You can check this out, and you can check out also the learn.rxjs.io, and you can find here the exhaustive list of all the supported operators. And yeah, again, here, those are the resources. And don't forget to check out the last version of RxJS, which is in beta now. So you can install it and start to use it as you are I mean, testing and trying out the features of RxJS. So yeah, don't hesitate to just download this version. Yeah, and thank you very much for your for having me and for reaching out. And if you have any question, don't hesitate to, reach me out on Twitter or on LinkedIn, or even send me an email. I will be very glad to answer everybody. Yeah, and still have, I think, 5 minutes for questions. Sorry for the delay. I will try to see here if there is something. Thank you. I think we still don't have questions. But as I said, if you have any question, or you want some feedback or some idea or something, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you. So, Mohammed, sorry I was late. So what RxJS is about? RxJS is the reactive extension or the implementation of the reactive programming paradigm in JavaScript. Okay, it's based on streams and everything asynchronous. Well, yeah, and there are many implementation of Rx. It implements the Rx standard with the reactive programming, and there are many implementations in many language, and it's the implementation in JavaScript. So if you are, totally beginner to the subject, you can check out my previous session, the part 1, and you will, get familiar with the reactive programming paradigm and RxJS. It's totally beginner friendly. Are there any resources in Arabic language? Well, I don't give Arabic sessions. It's always in English. And I don't know, honestly, if there are any, but if I can check out and see if I can find something, I will let you know. Yeah, but honestly, I don't know. Thank you too. Thanks for watching. Yeah, so thanks. Thank you for having me again, and see you. Bye.